welcome to episode 2 of Brokers and Booze, live at the old Yates pub. We have
Nick Sowers, I'm the broker at Beach Connection Realty.
Chris Ward, I am the broker in charge of Eagle Realty.
And my name is Bill Yates from the old Yates pub. Broker in charge of Sands Realty and property manager in charge of Sands Property Management. Today we are going to do a little tasting and experience Don Julio 70. 70 is not the age, it is actually just basically an anniversary because they started in 1962. 1942? 62.
I'm not good at math, I'm not sure. We're just in real estate.
You're
Maybe we should do a comparison.
Would it be 1942
bottle. We'll do that one after this. So 1942 answers that.
All right, I just have a question. This isn't tequila, right?
This is tequila.
Oh, holy crap. That's not cool.
So the last experience we had with Chris,
I don't like tequila. They're making me do this on episode 2, which is ridiculous. So we're going to cheers.
We definitely have to cheers.
Gentlemen.
Tastes like Disney mouthwash.
I think someone was trying to smuggle some tequila in there through the mouthwash.
Actually, the 70, it's smooth. I mean, as far as tequilas go, like
it's aged extra. So
like we could go get some El Toro right now, and we'd all be like,
It's kind of got a smoky flavor like a mezcal.
Oh, there's a little smoky aftertaste.
I feel like tequila is such a unique, and full disclosure, I'm definitely not a tequila drinker. I don't like tequila. I don't want to drink tequila. I'm cool, like never having tequila again. But this is smooth. I'll give you that. It's so distinct of an aroma and taste. Like I said, I went to Disney World. There was a mouthwash. I think it had agave in it because it was just as soon as I put it in my mouth, I was like, "This is tequila. This is a mouthwash." It's such a unique flavor. Such a unique flavor. If we're staying on the
so basically what we have here is kind of a unique situation. It's a Blanco, which typically is unaged, but this is actually aged extra. Well, it's about 18 months aged.
So what does this retail for?
It's about $53.
Is that Costco pricing?
That is Costco pricing.
Yeah, so probably in your local liquor store, it's going to run probably $10, $15 higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've seen it as low as 49 in other states.
Really? Yeah. And it is definitely a popular one since they came out with it.
It is a Blanco, but it tastes more like an Añejo. Mm-hmm. The difference is basically a Blanco is unaged. A Reposado is aged between 60 and 365 days. Añejo is aged around 3 years, 2 to 3 years.
So when you say Blanco, I get what that means.
Anything clear usually.
Okay, so like Jose Cuervo's or yellow tequilas.
Those are actually like a Reposado.
Okay.
Those are more of a mixing tequila.
Okay.
So your Añejos are more sipping.
Yep.
The Reposados are mixing.
And Blancos more sipping.
Blancos are shooting.
Shooting. Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Let's not do too many of that for the podcast.
So just so our audience knows, we are drinking these out of glass shot glasses. However,
we've got a comparison here.
We got a comparison of a salt glass to try this tequila out of and see how the salt in the glass affects the taste.
A lot of people do the tequila with the salt and the lime back, but
so this is just salt.
This will be salt.
The glass made out of salt.
Do you chill these?
It's natural antibacterial. So
awesome, because I don't know
a lot of people chill tequila. It kind of ruins the flavor, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't want to taste it.
No,
I
think it can be similar to a red wine in the sense of where you may drink it cooler or you may drink it room temperature. I think it affects the taste. Certain tequilas, like certain wines, you can drink different ways. Sometimes I know with a red wine, if you chill it, sometimes it brings out some more flavor. Like certain tequilas, that's way, and then there's other tequilas to get the full taste you wanted at room temperature.
Chris requested a comparison so he could take 2 shots.
I did not whatsoever. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salty, because this topic we're about to have is about to get salty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pure salt though. It makes the tequila any taste go away for me. Like it just tastes the salt on it because it's so smooth.
Yeah.
So a lot of people enjoy the salt with the tequila because of what Chris just said there. Mm-hmm. Because then some people that don't like tequila can drink tequila with the salt, especially with the salt.
Lick your lips a little bit.
Yep, delicious.
Yeah. So, but I think you're right. I don't think it's needed. So if you haven't tried Don Julio 70, we're giving it a recommendation. That's what we need to do. We need to give recommendations. Like
I recommend it.
He recommends it.
As far as tequila goes, especially if you want a first timer on taking some tequila shots, this is a good one to go with.
I don't recommend tequila ever. But if you want to,
except in the mountains where it's really, really cold on a ski trip. Then he likes it.
Oh my gosh. Trapped in snow. All right, Nick, what's our topic for today?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about, it's a little bit of an advertising marketing strategy, also a lead generation strategy. Has to do with do you put your price on your advertisements, on your Facebook post of your listings? You're putting something out there, you're trying to advertise, generate stuff. Do you put the price out there so that somebody can just see it right up front? Or do you make them have to find the price another way via messaging you, calling you, texting you, reaching out to you, emailing you?
Well, I would think it's kind of more the foot in the door technique where it's a call to action. Mm-hmm. But if you see a property and your budget is $150,000 to $200,000 and you're not sure of the price, but it looks like a fantastic, beautiful house, and it's actually within your price range, and you skip over it because you think it's out of your price range, you might be missing out there. But I do think that if you do have that call, you can say, hey, listen, it is $225,000. If you're looking for something maybe a little bit cheaper, I've got something there as well.
So you like it as a cross-selling strategy of not including the price?
Cross-selling.
Okay, so I'm gonna go maybe even more macro here. I think each of us up here have been in the real estate industry for, this is something else I meant to say on episode 1. How long have you been in real estate, like licensed in real estate?
I've been licensed in real estate since 2011.
How long have you been in?
2009.
2009, so 10, 8, 18, I've been 16, so we have about 34 years plus of experience just up in this podcast. And I think over the last 16 years, what I've seen happen are some of the biggest shifts in real estate because of digital technology and the internet that we've ever seen in the past 50 years. So that pricing, I think there's been shift over the last decade or more of why this question stirs so much debate. And if you don't know, our format is that we will put out topics on social, on Facebook, like posts, let people comment, get some opinions, and then give you kind of our opinions on the opinions that we've seen. But for me, I think in 2019, and my answer would have been different in 2010, 2012. In 2019, there is no reason not to put the price, because I actually, think it annoys buyers more so because there are so many other avenues for them to go find that price. If they see a property they like, if you have put out a post, if I put out a post of a new listing I have, and it's a new listing I have, that if I don't put the price and I'm almost trying to trap or get you to call me to get the price, they're going to go to Zillow, they're going to go to Realtor.com, they're going to go to Trulia, they're going to go to wherever they need to go, because that information is readily and easily findable.
This is a consumer tip right now. A consumer tip. If they see that you didn't put the price, they can type that address directly into Google, and they're going to have that price within 5 seconds.
And they're going to have an opinion of you. At that point, they're going to have an opinion, a perspective.
Yeah, and today they can almost find out more information or as much information as we can share with them. Right. Everything is pretty much publicized now.
So I'm super excited to hear. Give me some comments. I actually want to hear about this.
So what happened, when it came to the price specifically, we had a couple there were people that said it totally irritates them when they can't just have the price right there. I think that goes with what Chris said. We're in such a information now society. You don't go into the grocery store and not have the price displayed right in front of you, And I think it's that concept. There was definitely that, and then there was definitely some longtime agents that may go back to what you said, that still practice the strategy of we're not putting the price out there because we're trying to generate calls off of it. There's definitely some, even within our local market and then even outside of this market, that commented about they won't put the price. However, the interesting thing about this discussion is it went to another level. It went to, okay, I have a post, it may not have the price on it, but they click on it and it goes to my website. Mm-hmm. On the website, you still don't have the price readily available. You have to give them your email address, your phone number, your name.
Just to get into the website.
Just to get into the website to see. And they call for the term we're going to use for the podcast is forced registration.
Right.
And so then that became really the hot topic of the post after that, is whether forced registration is a good technique or not. I know personally for me, I'm not a big fan of it, because any website I go to that asks me that, I immediately close it and go find another website to find the information. But that's me personally. I don't know if that's a societal thing or just a me personal thing.
I see. And that's a great insight, not just about the pricing and forced registration, but there's so many people in our industry that I feel like are like, I wouldn't do that, I don't like that, and yet they market to the masses like they're an anomaly, and yet they talk like I don't want to be on the phone or have phone calls, and then they're out there calling like every single person religiously nonstop in call centers, or I'm gonna click off that website because it asked me this thing, but I'm gonna set my website up to ask that thing. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why we in an industry like real estate have personal preferences and opinions that we ignore when doing marketing and branding strategy.
Now, the interesting thing though, there were 2 local brokers here that clearly came out and said they use forced registration all the time, with a very successful growing their personal business, growing their company's business. However, I wonder how many sales they're losing.
It's probably a race. It's a race to get that buyer, because 95% of buyers start off online with the information they're given. They can start, look at photos, read the descriptions, find out what it was previously sold for, by who. So they start their search there, and we're all trying to get that client to become our client, where they can stop searching and we can send them our recommendations. But I think the forced registration is kind of a stab to get that client first.
So then does the question become, Nick, and I don't know if it wins this in the comments, is forced. What's interesting about, I think, all real estate, and I think most of our audience people would agree with this. I mean, there's a lot of, all real estate's local to an extent, as our market's unique. There's a lot of unique markets out there, so we can't say blanket statements all the time, because forced registration may work in our market because we have an older demographic of buyer that still is used to that type from 1996 to 2005, that type of website. So they're okay thinking through and becoming a lead through that process. What I worry about is in the next 5 to 10 years, do those 2 brokerages, how exponentially decreasing factor do they start seeing their lead database each year over year go down, because a new generation of buyer is coming who doesn't like that? Yeah. That's what I would be concerned about.
Because what's the first thing, so what may make simple forced registration, what's the first thought process that comes to you whenever you or any site, I'm not talking real estate, any website, when you're forced registration, what's the first thought you get?
Click off.
Right. No, but besides that, what do you think? If I do feel
go to Amazon and see if it's for sale there. Yeah.
If I do put my information in, what's the first thing you think is going to happen to you?
You're going to get inundated with emails
or
and
email.
content.
Yeah. And how many of us do we want more emails in our email box?
Yeah, none of us.
Emails don't bother me, but I get annoyed.
That's because you can turn them over in spam and you don't ever see them again.
Right, but I get annoyed at the.
Some people have email addresses specifically aligned to where they don't have to check it or read it.
I do.
There's a lot of real estate tech websites or product or service websites that won't even give you pricing for their packages, products, or services, and it says, you basically, it's a forced registration to be able to get what the pricing is, and it becomes a phone call meeting into a sales pitch. And I know we have sales in our industry, but I hate it. I can't stand it.
For a lot of the services we as real estate agents use, it's kind of the same thing. You put your contact information in, you'll receive an email or a phone call from one of our representations.
So do you like Nick and Bill? Because I say a lot this in my personal content that we're a service industry, not sales industry. But if you are doing forced registration on your websites, realtors or anybody else, my perception is you just created the perception of the person at your website that all they are is a lead. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about relationship in the last episode a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like now I feel like I'm just a lead. Like, do you guys feel that at all, or is that? I mean,
I get what you're saying.
I feel that, and it's interesting. I did have a comment from a non-real estate agent on the post. As a consumer, she wrote, "I'm not an agent, but as a consumer, I will immediately leave the site if registration is required."
no. Now,
Boom.
I'm saying this with a mild sense of hypocrisy, because I know my company site, EagleRealtySC.com, has a limit. To be flat out honest, and probably because I just don't know how to turn it off. If you look at 4 listings, now those listings have all the data. I mean, they're
right.
all things. But
And then eventually,
if you look at 4 listings, it'll
required.
ask you to subscribe to and set up a profile so that you can look at more.
So one of the funniest comments that came out of this whole thing was to point out that on my own Facebook page, we have posts that I did not include the price.
All right.
Oh, how many times did I email you? I emailed.
So honestly,
Okay, it's really controversial.
now I will be fully honest in the sense that
nullified all of
I
these
did
new
not
posts.
make those posts, and when you rely on other people,
That's your marketing team. Thank you.
Or,
Ryan.
or some of your sales partners that rely on those old school
some
tactics.
tactics,
I mean,
exactly.
honestly, we all know them and we all have them, and sometimes they work. Like I said, each market's a little bit different.
Or you can choose one ad to include it, one not to, and see how many leads you get from
that
it.
would be
A/B test it, A/B
Now
test
that would be
Test
highly
market.
interesting. I would
Right.
very much like to see people doing some.
So okay, take that one step further, and I know that the original topic was price on a piece of marketing, advertisement, an email, a post, whatever
Yep.
it may be. I think this is going to be going towards has already personally, yard signs. And you know, and even though that's becoming a less segment of people who are calling from yard signs versus finding you on the internet first, but if somebody drives by a yard sign, I actually already like text for information because I know that they probably don't want to call me. Like
Text codes.
I've actually
Yes.
A/B tested this,
Yeah.
whether it's a text code or even just my cell phone, and I just say text and I don't call them. Like if they text me and I have their phone number, I don't call them unless it's a follow up or unless I've asked them already. But I just send them the information on the property and a link to the property on my website.
Yep.
So you know, I just take that one step further: is that consumers, buyers, people don't want to be sold or trapped or felt like they're a lead.
I also think it's a value proposition. And it's interesting because one other way, there was like almost 100 comments on this post. So that's when I talk about them going down different trails, that's why they went down
Nick
different
likes to
trails.
start the controversial questionnaires.
But it's interesting that another real estate agent did mention that they don't understand, taking this a step further, in your content. We all putting out listings all the time. We put it out there on social media, whatever. Whether we put price or not, you're advertising listings. Also said you're putting up, oh, you just sold this, or coming soon. And her comment is, why do we want to be like every other realtor? Why do we put the same noise? Her thought is eventually people just keep scrolling past it all. Because if everybody's doing it, it just fills their feed and they don't even pay attention to
Well,
it.
I believe people are going to they're going to go to a website, put in the criteria, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, price range, location. They're going to search for themselves. I think it's a far reach if you're throwing out an ad to reach so many people, you know, per click or per view. I think that's a strong reach for an advertisement on a listing, but it definitely makes our sellers happy.
Well, to speak to your point, and that's probably a good way to conclude it, is just like, first off, in the original question about putting price in these kind of posts or ads, if these are the only posts you're doing, there's a bigger issue from content standpoint. So just FYI to agents that are just putting just sold or just listed and saying, hey, look at me. If you're not providing value in content anyway, it's not going to matter whether you put the price in there or not, because like Nick just said, it's going to become white noise and people are going to scroll past it whether you have the price in there or not. That's
I agree.
free advice.
Yes. Well, on that note, gentlemen, Joey, cheers.
Cheers. Another successful episode.
Keep on drinking.
Keep on drinking.